year, just knowing what to anticipate a little bit better, knowing where to conserve energy, knowing really kind of anticipate what's around the corner. Certainly as our sports start to transition from football to basketball, we're quickly going to be in ice hockey here in the next month. We'll look up in the spring with most of our sports competing in the spring, just being more planful about what's coming next and making sure that we're prepared for all the excitement coming our way.
What have you seen from this fan base in terms of really rallying around this team?
Yeah, really excited for our fan base and just the energy that we're able to feed off of. And that started last season. I think we all saw that, even dating back to last year's Camp T, the home game against Wyoming, that even though it wasn't sold out, there was a different energy in the stadium. The atmosphere was just a lot more lively, and that continued to grow week by week with the home games that we have. And, beating Mississippi State, first time we beat a SEC team, the atmosphere was really, really fun there. Then you get back into the Utah and the Kansas games and the way that those ended, which was so exciting, and then just continued to ramp up. And by the end of the season, the BYU game, you guys saw that. That was incredible. We call it our 2-for-1 special, 2 field rushes for the cost of 1 ticket. We paid a price for that. Shout out to our fan that was in the BYU medical tent.
I was going to say, yeah, probably not something you want to see as an athletic director, but something we can
condone that. But
we can laugh about after.
We're happy to be in the core memory business. I guess that's how we would say that. But really the energy that we're feeding up our fans is amazing. And we've talked a lot publicly about 97% of our season ticket holders renewing, 7,700 new season tickets sold. I think we're going to have a record student crowd on Saturday with downloads off the charts. And so it just helps us. It helps us as we're building the brand of our football program. It helps us build the brand of the athletic department. It helps our coaches recruit. When recruits are seeing that kind of atmosphere in Mountain America Stadium, the fact that it's Labor Day weekend, it's hot outside, it's a non-conference opponent, and people are there to cheer on this team, that really matters. And so now the challenge is, hey, we've got to do it for Texas State, and we've got to do it going into the start of the Big 12, and we've got to do it consistently where it's not who we're playing, how the team's faring in the season. It's we're all in on the Sun Devils, and we've got to keep building that fan base. And we're on our way, but we're hungry and looking at everything that we can do to build a better game day, to give our coaches the resources to go compete. And again, I don't think that work's ever going to be done. There's always going to be the next opportunity. There's always going to be something on our wish list that we're trying to push. And if every day we're working towards getting a little bit better, I think we'll be trending in the right direction.
You mentioned game day. Just kind of what can fans expect this year out of the game day experience at Mountain America Stadium for football games?
Yeah, really excited. I talk a lot about food and beverage. I think food is the best way to somebody's heart oftentimes, and food and beverage at a sports game is a big part of the experience anchor. And so we've got a brand new company, Aramark, that's running concessions in all of our athletic venues now. We've really focused, obviously, on the suites and the clubs that were sold out for the year on a lot of our premium space, but the general concession stand and making sure that a fan sitting in the end zone or the 50-yard line can get back and forth to a concession stand really quickly. So we added a number of points of sale that are self-checkout or grab and go. We've had a value item menu. We've really tried to create some of these signature items once again, and we'll have those up in the press box for media to try and talk about. But really just, I talk a lot about a frictionless fan experience and looking at the arrival, the parking lot. We're making our parking experience a lot more digital. We're conscious of keeping the price of parking inexpensive. All of that. And so we just, hopefully fans are going to show up and see a better experience than they had last year.
Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson obviously have monstrous expectations on the field.
Right.
But off the field, they're doing so much as well. And, you mentioned on Burns and Gambo, the Adidas partnership that both of them were announced as part of today. They also have the cold beers and cheeseburgers. For Sam, it's second year running,
right,
where they're giving back to Phoenix Children's, which, of course, for this company is a great cause as well, with the Give-a-thon that we had recently. What's it been like to have 2 stars at the front of your program who really represent the program in, I'm sure, a way that you admire?
Yeah, I'm proud of both of them and all of our athletes that are really thriving in this NIL environment. I think that's the benefit of when you perform in a major metropolitan market. Big companies are taking notice. And, Sam's got Powerade, he's got Adidas now. He's involved in PayPal through the Big 12. Jordan's the kind of the next in line. We're really growing this NIL portfolio. What's really most exciting is that these guys are at a very young age understanding the importance of giving back. And, Sam leads by example, donating his NIL royalties back last year. He's given to the Pat Tillman Foundation. Obviously, what he's doing with cold beers and cheeseburgers in Phoenix Children's Hospital is amazing. He's also involved in an organization called Emma's Foundation that's really impacting the lives of children that have some challenges that they're facing. And so for 20 and 21-year-olds to kind of understand the importance of giving back to the community and that they've they're earning, but they're also mindful of that they can help support causes that are important to families that are cheering on the Sun Devils. Couldn't be prouder of it. And, again, it's a testament to when you come and play for great coaches, when you're part of a growing fan base, when you're part of a incredible metropolitan area like we're here in the Valley, these are the outputs that you can expect when you come to a place like ASU. And so for local businesses, for national companies to see the value in an ASU athlete promoting what they're doing, it's awesome. And so we want to continue to find more of those opportunities. It's a call to action to our fan base. And if your company is looking for somebody to promote it, hit us up.
Do you think it's enough for the top 5 conference champions to just solely make the conversation, to make the playoff? Or do you think they need more in terms of maybe hosting a game, even if they're ranked lower?
We've always liked the idea of the conference champion has to be in the college football playoff.
Sure.
Like, that's a non-negotiable to us. And whether or not it expands, there's got to be a formula where the best teams get a chance to advance. And the concept of predestined spots per conference is nothing that we've ever been supportive of. We believe that you got to earn it on the field. And if you have a good season, and if you compete, and if you schedule in a way that the committee responds to, you're going to have a chance to advance, sometimes if you don't win the conference. But we're more of the mindset of let's win it on the field. And if that means winning the conference, then we got to win the conference. If that means we've got to get to the conference championship game, and that's going to be a really good pathway to get into the CFP, well, we need to know that. We need to be able to build around that.
So that sounds to me like you're in favor of the 5+11 format that's been talked about. That would be 5 conference champions and then 11 at-large bids.
Yep, we've always been that way.
Thanks so much to Graham Rossini for joining us just a few days ago. We really appreciate it. And we will be right back. When we come back, we're going to preview this game, the NAU versus ASU game, coming up here on ESPN 620 and Arizona Sports app.
The Labor Day event is going on now at your 13 Valley Chevy dealers. Get exciting offers on a head-turning Chevy Silverado. From off-road adventures to workday tasks, this truck has the strength to take on what's next. Or check out the
And 2 working days in advance? Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and the MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99, plus 2 times points at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Life's a sprint, and you need a quick pick-me-up. Meet G2G Protein Bars, the ultimate grab-and-go meal replacement. Whether you're hustling in the office, enjoying a day on the links, or conquering the daily grind, G2G is your perfect fuel. Score an 8-pack at your local Costco's refrigerated section, or explore amazing flavors at G2GBar.com. Quick, delicious, and power-packed. G2G Protein Bars, setting the pace for your energetic lifestyle.
With Progressive customer service, there are lots of ways to connect with us, so you never have to miss a second of your favorite sport. Because you'd much rather watch a ball go through a net 124 times in 48 minutes when you don't really have to pay attention until the last 2, and then somehow those 2 minutes will take an hour. You don't want to miss all that. Luckily, you can chat with Progressive on our app, online, or over the phone without missing a single one of those times the ball goes through the metal circle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states or situations.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9861. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9861. That's 800-575-9861. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
State of the Sun Devils pregame show with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred.
Welcome back inside Mountain America Stadium alongside Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred. It's the State of the Sun Devils pregame show. I'm your host, Jeremy Schnell. NAU taking on ASU. ASU ranked number 11 in the country, and NAU ranked top 20 in the FCS, guys. So, a lot of things coming into this game have been said, have been posted on social media, Damon, but it's what they're going to do on the football field that matters today, Jesse. What are you expecting to see today?
Well, from ASU, I think they need to come out and have a statement. I think, especially after what
an Arizona statement.
Yeah, I think especially after what Samuel Hunsaker said, the kicker for NAU, on, he said NAU is going to make history today, and I think
he didn't clarify which kind of history.
Yes, he didn't clarify which kind of history.
Listen, he can make a 70-yard kick, and ASU could win.
Maybe he's talking about his own kicking game,
yeah.
but I think
4 for 7 over his career.
I think we can infer that he was talking about the game itself. But I think ASU needs to come out and show everyone that they are a contender. They are a team that can go to the college football playoff again. They need to come out and absolutely dominate this game. That is something that I think is important. If it's 21-14 at halftime or something, I just think that can't happen.
Multiple top 10 teams have lost today or about to lose. FSU is about to beat Alabama, I believe. So that gives ASU a chance, if they win today, to possibly jump into the top 10 with the 11th ranked team in the country. Now let's talk about NAU, though, Damon. They were a top 20 team in the FCS. They made it to the FCS playoffs last year. They had their quarterback returning in Ty Pennington, who had 20 touchdowns total last season. What do you think we're going to see from them today?
Yeah, it's interesting. You bring up the playoff appearance. You have, ASU coming off its own playoff appearance and NAU coming off its own playoff appearance. Obviously, there's a big difference between FBS playoffs and FCS playoffs. And so I'm going to look for ASU to really show that difference today. I think that NAU presents some weird challenges that not a lot of FCS programs do in terms of how they disguise things defensively and how aggressive they are defensively, a lot of cover zero. But there's also, if you can protect against those blitzes, and if Kyson Brown or whoever the running back is on each play, if you can pick up the blitz and keep Sam upright enough where he can read the defense, which hopefully on the back end, if they're blitzing a lot, there's not a lot in coverage. And so I think that that's something that Sam Leavitt and the offense can take advantage of, as long as, they keep their P's and Q's in order on the protection.
This is a game that ASU does need to take seriously, obviously. Like this, NAU, they're coming off a playoff appearance in the FCS. They got an experienced quarterback. And right now where we are doing the show, they're showing the U Albany Iowa game, and Iowa is down to FCS U Albany right now in the second quarter.
And until last year, I think it was a certain number of years in a row that an FCS team had beaten an FBS team.
It happens at least once every year.
Correct, but last year it didn't. So listen, obviously NAU has a big hill to climb today, Jesse.
Correct,
but it happens almost every year.
Yeah, you've got to take all your opponents seriously, because this is NAU's biggest game of the season until they get to the playoffs. Like this is if they get to the playoffs. This is something that they really they want to come in here and make history, as you saw their kicker post.
They actually had a player earlier this week say outright, this is going to be our hardest game of the year.
You would hope so.
Obviously, yeah.
Playing a team that made the playoffs last year, has most of their team returning in ASU, outside of the running back position, which we will get to in just a
couple other
second.
spots as well.
Yes. Damon, in terms of the protection, though, you talked about cover zero and Kyson Brown picking up that cover zero. What else do you hope to see from the offensive line in keeping Levitt off the ground today?
It would be lovely if the snaps could just be something that you don't have to think about, because as soon as it is something that you're thinking about, suddenly you're losing a second off that ticking clock that will be ticking with how this defense comes at you. And I just think that as long as the protections can be, which, I mean, we're going to be looking at left tackle Josh Atkins, right guard Kyle Scott, and right tackle Maxion Achor, the three returning guys who are back in their regular spots. Obviously, Ben Coleman is also returning to this offensive line, but it's at center as opposed to left guard. And so I think that we're going to really have our eyes on center and that left guard spot just to see whether Jameto Obigbo can also handle, the new spot and things like that.
Also, I just wanted to, this is off topic, but Florida State has beaten Alabama 31-17. So if ASU gets a win today, they're probably going to be a top 10 team.
That is two teams inside the top 10. Obviously, number one, Texas is not probably going to drop out of the top 10. But that's two teams, and then you got another two playing each other later today.
LSU, Clemson.
And then obviously you have Miami versus
Miami.
Notre Dame tomorrow. So it's a lot. A lot needs to happen, but ASU could see themselves be in the top 10 Monday if they win this game.
Going into SEC country, too.
Yeah, going into SEC country against a team that was, I heard a lot of talk about how Southern Miss was going to, beat Mississippi State in the last.
It was 10-10.
It was 10-10, but
half.
then Mississippi State pulled away in that one. But I want to piggyback off of Damon's point. I really do want to see a strong offensive line performance. No sacks, maybe one sack for Sam. I don't want to see him be under a lot of pressure. And then I really do. I know we've talked a lot about the center battle between Wade Helton and Ben Coleman. They're going with Ben Coleman tonight in this one. And I want to see just good, consistent snaps from him to Sam Levitt, especially, in the shotgun.
And then hopefully the offensive line can help break a run for one of these running backs. What do you expect to see in terms of carries distributed between the three guys that we're expected to see today?
I have a hard time seeing anyone but Kyson Brown getting the bulk of the carries today. Just as far as, everything he brings as a running back, it's all facets of the position. From the pass protection that we've already talked about, which has come a long way for him. Kenny Dillingham has really highlighted his fluidity and flexibility as a runner, which I think has really helped him hit holes harder than he did last year. I think there was some tentativeness at times last year, but we also know that he's a very good pass catcher out of the backfield. And we know that Raleek Brown will kind of do a lot of that same stuff too. I think Raleek Brown will get the second most touches today, just out of the running backs. I think that the way he's been embedded in the system, as opposed to Kanye Udo coming from, where it's, the triple option, going to a pro-style system, it is a jump for sure.
Yeah, I would like to see, I think that Kyson's going to get the most amount of carries this season, not just in this game. What Damon has told me that, being at practice with Raleek, I would expect Raleek Brown to get the second most. I do want to see a good amount of Kanye Udo, though. I want to see a good amount of all three of them, just to kind of see what ASU is really working with as far as a three-headed monster. Or if maybe one guy emerges, then that's I'm not going to say they're going to be a Cam Scatterbo, but maybe that's your bell cow, your workhorse this year.
That's what we've seen from ASU teams and Sean Aguano coached teams in terms of the running back position. He's had that guy that they rely on. And that's something that Ken Dillingham, when he came on Bickley and Murata the other day, alluded to, that it's going to be different this year, he thinks.
Yeah, and I think it will be too, but I also think that there could be a guy that emerges, and I think it would be Kyson Brown. But also tonight, I do want to see Jason Brown, Demarius Robinson out there a little bit, just to see kind of what the depth is in case, some injuries happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but in case they do, I would like to see kind of what the depth is there, because I think Demarius and Jason are really talented backs.
And then defensively, Damon, last year, Ty Pennington, in terms of the way he held on to the ball, didn't turn over the ball in terms of an interception until week 10 last year. He only had 2 all season. How can ASU put pressure on him to force a turnover from NAU today.
Yeah, we know the ASU defense was a really ball-hawking group last year, a lot of interceptions. Contrary to what you may remember, not a lot of fumbles from that group last year. And so I'm going to be looking at, what physicality is the defense bringing. We know they're going to be in every passing lane that they can be. I expect the coverage to be much better this year than last year, where there were kind of some blown plays out deep. I think Keith Abney and Javen Robinson out on the corners are really, really strong players right now. Of course, they've had incredible camps, Keith especially, I think. And then having a guy like Xavier Alfred on the back end to kind of direct the defense when it needs to be as well. I think that the defense is in as good a position as any to handle a situation like Ty Pennington, which will get you ready for a lot of the quarterbacks you're going to see because of the way he's a dual threat.
Quickly, pretty small offensive line for NAU, as you would expect with an FCS school. So I think ASU has
unless it was North Dakota State.
Yeah, unless it was North Dakota. This is not North Dakota State.
This is a real chance to show off an improved pass rush.
This is their real chance to show off an improved pass rush. I want to see multiple sacks from ASU's defensive line.
Jesse touched on this a little bit in terms of the starters. How much are we going to see of them today, and how much of the backups should we expect to see, or do we want to see even?
I think most ideally it's a blowout, in quotes, to a point at halftime where you come out for one more possession in the second half, and then by then you're able to call it a day. But that's obviously asking for a lot. You can never expect blowouts. It's just going to be about ASU to come out and, play their game.
Yeah, I think we see into the third quarter, at least with starters, maybe all 3 quarters. But I think by the end of this game, you're going to see second, maybe even third stringers in there for ASU.
And really important to point out, this defense might be a little ticked off, at the Hunsaker situation, and maybe not even wanting that kicker to get a chance on the other side of the field.
Yes.
All right, Damon, quickly, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
I'm going 55-7.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I said this on Wolf and Luke yesterday. I think ASU is going to win this one 70-0.
70-0.
I think it was going to be like 49-0, but then the Hunsaker post, I think, changed things. So 70-0.
Yeah,
wow,
that's interesting.
70-0.
Yes,
I think ASU will score 50+ today and not give up 10+ points. So maybe
give us a number.
Give us a number. Come on, yeah. 50, I wasn't going to say it, but thanks, Damon.
55-9. 3 field goals.
That's a number.
Okay.
Wow, big day for Hunsaker.
Yeah, big day for Hunsaker.
That's going to do it for this edition of Citizen Sun Devils pregame show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can find us on all forms of social media. At AZ Sports Devils is where you can find us. And, of course, the Sun Devil Tailgate Show with Jeff Munn is going to come up next on ESPN 620 and the Arizona Sports app. Thank you so much to Luke Carter, Sean Crespin, Matt Lazarus. They've been awesome help today. For Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We will talk to you after the game.